Do it again. Oh, fucking lie.
It's going to make a great vlog, Charlie, isn't it?
Perfect.
Hi, I'm Stuart. I own Superla, Invoke, whatever you want to call it, and we're here to talk about the 3D space.
Hello, I'm Laura and I am the designer. I've been working on the designs for the shop front so far.
Hi, I'm Dean. I am the head of 3D production development at Superla, and I basically do all the 3D stuff.
3D stuff.
Yeah, that's about it, isn't it?
Hi, I'm Charlie. I do all the vlogs and stuff at Superla, so I have to deal with all the stuff that comes out of this video.
There's no bad stuff going to come out of the video.
Where did the idea for an 80s mall come from for the space, given you could do literally anything? Well, not literally anything, pretty much anything.
Yeah, let's have some context. So, I was under the impression that everybody loved 80s films and 80s terrible sci-fi horror films. And I know that Laura does, because I sort of force her to watch them sometimes. And there was one called Shopping Mall that I was like, that is one of the pinnacle moments of straight-to-video 80s horror. And obviously things like Stranger Things are big at the moment, and the 80s seems to be quite nostalgic. Filmmakers who are at the age now where they're making big budget films, they sort of hark back to their childhood, and that's the 80s, it tends to be. So I just assumed everyone loved 80s synthwave, neon, and horror films from the 80s. Turns out that I might be the only one in the office. But that's not true, because Dean says he didn't even grow up in the 80s. He literally did.
I was 5 in like 1990. I do get it. I do think the 80s was quite cool.
Most of the office weren't even born.
Ah.
So it's nice having to do all the research.
I showed it to a client. I showed a client the cinema space, and he just started to project forward his memories of the cinema he used to go to that had a similar carpet. And you see that even, I mean, realistically, if you get up to people who are like late 40s, maybe early 50s, will remember these sorts of spaces, will remember arcades, going up and actually spending time and money in them. I think that's where it's come from a little bit. You've got to, like, the audience is the most important thing, right? And our audience is people at that age. Remember what this is for. It's not just for people to go and mess around with, it's to sell what we do. And the people who buy what we do are sort of late 30s, early 50s. This is the right era for them. And in 10 years time, we'll flip it and it'll be Jurassic Park that we make instead. Right? Pick those moments in time that people remember as kids. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to spark all that nostalgia.
It does make you feel old though as well when you're looking back and you remember watching some of these films when they were on TV when you were a kid, or collecting the toys that are in it, like the Transformers and stuff like that.
Basically, it's a shopping mall of our childhoods, not two of your childhoods. What year were you born, Charlie?
2002.
Oh man.
It's depressing, isn't it?
It's just a passage of time. And in my head, what I've learned is that these younger folks, in my head, they'll hit 30 and do what I did and just get fatter and balder. But it turns out they're not doing. They're all living healthier lifestyles. So yeah, we're making it out because I'm angry about getting fatter and balder and I want to relive my childhood.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed we couldn't get people smoking in the mall. I thought that was quite that got shut down pretty.
Okay, can we go back
5 seconds of mentioning it?
Dean's first submission of the 80s shopping mall? I didn't labour the point to him that it needed to be an American shopping mall. So the first things he showed us was like the Arndale in Manchester in the 80s. I was like, this is a bit bleak, Dean.
Yeah, that's one thing I realised when you research like the 1980s in the UK, it's just.
It's Thatcher's Britain. It's like, let's knock everyone back.
So everything's stripped out, isn't it? There's nothing left apart from the big shops. That should.
It's like, what colour's everything? Yellowish brown?
Yeah.
80s America, which I didn't say to Dean, I just said 80s shopping mall. I thought he'd go, it clearly means American.
Like, how do you actually go about building a space where you can get people to come in from nothing? Because you don't start from anything.
Well, the first thing you need is a proper brief. I mean, do you know what I mean? A proper, good written, well thought out brief that you've had a chance
you know the second thing you need? Some common sense.
But once you've done that, then it's just a case of just building up as much reference and ideas
The most important thing with 3D work and building spaces is the references. So Pinterest boards and things like that become like mood boards become the most essential thing, because you can find like 2 images, and that's essentially what we did, find 2 images to just instantly sum up exactly what we're going for. This is the feeling and the concepts what we're after. And then there's efficiencies that are the way to build things. So we have to look at something and go, right, do we want to build the entire shopping mall polygon by polygon? Well, no. We go and get like a starter shell. Then we bought an asset, did we not, to do the first bit of it. A room with some detail in it is essentially what we started with. I think we bought that as a pack and we built on top of that. And you go, like, you get it into the 3D space. The Dean's workflow starts with that. And we get it into the 3D software. It's frustratingly, Dean uses 3D Studio Max. Like all the cool kids use Cinema 4D and Blender. So we get into that, and literally nobody else can look at it other than Dean until he puts it into Unity, and then we can walk around it and go, like, yeah, this is, you can start to understand the space.
Yeah, so it's very much like a staggered approach, really, isn't it? We start off basic with basic block shapes, and you try to get a feeling for the space, how it's going to work, and then you just once you're happy with that, you've made the tweaks at that stage, and you just carry on adding more detail. And the thing is, with these things, you can just keep on throwing more and more detail at them, but that's ultimately how it works. And the kind of restrictions really are just the time and effort that you need to put into these things. That's why your blockbuster games, they have teams of hundreds of people putting every bit of detail into them sets. You know, we're a very small team, and we've got a very limited time to get this done, so it's all about compromise in that respect.
Yeah. And the devil's in the detail. It's like you want people to spend time in a space. You need to feel alive, but for it to feel alive, it needs to have that. It needs to have that detail. It needs to feel like, we were talking the other day about where people's eyes go. So we have to go really granular into, like, when you load into this space, where do we want people to look? Because we haven't got loads and loads of time to just do it. Like, we're not making Cyberpunk. I mean, it doesn't fucking work anyway, but we're not. We haven't got the time to do that. What we have got the ability to do is go, like, let's talk about light and how we can force people's eyes down a path so we can tell story, because the space is just that shell for that story, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess the other thing is you've got to make it so that everyone can run it on their, like, company given laptops.
Yeah, there's the big problem is, does it work on your laptop? If it doesn't, we miss the trick here. So not everyone's got a bloody $4,000 beast of a laptop that we can run, Flight Simulator or Call of Duty or whatever on at the highest spec. Most people are sat there on their company laptop. Most people's phones are updated more regularly than their computers. So games are quite good at giving a lot of options to turn things off, but there is a baseline where you're like, look, man, there's a laptop from like 7 or 8 years ago. It ain't gonna run on that. So there's a balancing act you have to do, because at some point as well, you have to say, yeah, we want it to run on everyone's machine, but if we make it so it runs on literally everyone's machine and it starts to eat into the user experience because we're stripping everything out just so it works on this one person's fucking 10-year-old ThinkPad, they're like, you know what, they just can't come. And that's fine, because they probably don't want to come anyway because they've got a 10-year-old ThinkPad and don't care about walking around an 1980s shopping mall.